Yes, I'm reviewing Dark Disciple. You might be confused by the title, and I just want to sort of clarify why I'm vlogging out each episode individually and not doing the novel as a whole, which I am. But the thing is that this novel was based off of 8 episodes of the Clone Wars. And as this was originally 8 separate episodes combined into one novel, I sort of want to give each one its due and analyze it in depth and stuff. One, just because that's how it was originally, and I want to treat it as such as if these episodes had aired. Two, again, each episode's rich enough that I can sort of digest each one on its own. Three, there's like a thing on the inside cover that like nicely tells the titles of all the episodes. But unfortunately, they don't have when each one starts or ends. But I mean, I think I can pretty much figure out where that occurs. One, just general structure of the story. There's moments in the story where I can just be like, okay, I'm guessing this is where the episode would have ended. And also, there's like concept art showing like the numbers of the episodes, so that helps give me an idea. So, but I mean, Christy Golden, Matt Mitchovich, Dave Filoni, or if any of you guys happen to be watching this, I'd really appreciate if you let me know what chapters and page numbers correspond to which episodes. Because I do want to talk about each one individually, and it helps if I know where each episode is going to stop and begin. Yeah, but that's not the only reason I want to do this, to vlog about like this. I want to sort of savor the novel, let it last, because this is a really good story, and I do want to enjoy it while it lasts. Plus, I don't know when we're going to get more post-Clone Wars cancellation content, if any. I hope so, but, I mean, given the way that it tends to work, like, there tends to be long gaps, and even then, Filoni's like Ring for the Royal Moon. So who knows when we'll get it, if ever. So, if this is the last story we're going to get, I want it to last as long as possible. And also, no one really seems to be doing it this way. Like, everyone, they'll either just talk about it as news, give general thoughts, but they won't really, like, give each bit its due, and I sort of want to do that. Because, again, like, a lot of people worked really hard on each individual piece, and I want to sort of treat it that way. So, yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into the first episode. I'm guessing the Jedi Fortune Cookie would have dealt with, like, teamwork or friendship, like, let others help you before they help you. No, or, I mean, you'll accomplish more of others than you did on your own, or don't be afraid to let others help you, because that's what the episode dealt with. But anyway, this would have been Lethal Alliance. In this episode of the Clone Wars, the Jedi Council's decided they're going to end the war. Like, they need to end it right now, and the most effective way to end the war is if they just kill Dooku, the entire Separatist movement will fall apart. But, they're peacekeepers, like, they can't kill, so they decide to have one of their more unorthodox Jedi, Quinlan Vaz, kill him. And, sorry, there's, like, something in the background distracting me. So they recruit him, and they say, Vaz, you're not going to be enough to do this, so you also need to recruit Ventress to help, Asajj Ventress to help you. She hates Dooku, been betrayed by him, and she also knows him well, so she could be of good help. So Vaz tracks down Ventress in the middle of a bounty hunter help. Tries to amusingly flirt with her and fail. He just embarrasses himself to gain her trust. She rejects him, and his messing around allows her bounty to escape. But Vaz makes up for it by using his tracking skills to help Ventress find her. And she agrees to let him be your partner to help her bounties and to split the bounty. And that's I'd assume that's where the episode ends. I mean, it seems like a good bookend stopping point, plus they're leaving the planet, and it's been like a good time. Like, I can see Ventress, I mean, the bit where Ventress smiles and walks the ship, I can almost hear that da-da, which I mean, I'm going to talk about the episode first. I don't know. It's hard, because I'm debating whether or not to talk about the episode first, and then the rhyme, but okay, I'll talk about it first. First off, let me just say, Christy Golden, you're doing a really, really nice job adapting this. I mean, you're really proving that this was a good idea to adapt this into a novel, because while I really enjoyed the Son of Dathomir comic, that wasn't exactly the best way to adapt it. I mean, we really couldn't go into any depth about anything that was happening. Like, the story moved way too fast to a point where, like, that's it. Whereas here we can really take our time, slow down, go into depth with the characters. And there's a lot of really good introspection here that really helps flesh out the characters and get inside their heads. Like, and considering how a lot of this is going to involve Vaz lying to Ventress, like, it's important that we can get inside his head to get that extra bit of his character. And the same goes for Ventress. And also the action's real described. Like, there's a lot of really elaborate action, which I am so bummed that we aren't going to get to see because it would have looked amazing. But there's a really good... Golden's doing a really good job of giving it enough description that I can more or less visualizing it, but not doing it to a point where I feel... But not to a point where I feel like I can barely make it out. Like, I can clearly see all the action, and I feel like that's going to be one weakness of the book, because there's a lot of cool action that we didn't get to see, but I mean, like, this is the next best thing you can do. The only time I feel like Golden's sort of stumbling in the novel is, like, describing locations. Like, she's doing a really good job, but, like, particularly with alien species, it's a little hard for me to get a sense of what the aliens look like without any... I mean, some of them I know what they look like because we've either seen them on Clone Wars before, or they're from the rough cut that got showed at Celebration. But with the stuff that I haven't, like the alien we see at the beginning, like, it's all hard for me to visualize what that looks like. I mean, hopefully that's not a reoccurring problem, but I really hope that this isn't a major issue with the novel. But I mean, we do have some concept art and rough cuts which help, but I'm worried, particularly in the second half, which is probably going to be like the stuff that they didn't get around to doing a rough cut of. Because if my theory is correct, the second half of this novel is going to be like Season 8, which, again, I'll try to find out where the halfway point is and just vlog about them as each individual arcs, if that's how they were conceived. But yeah, I'm worried there when I don't have visuals how it'll work visualizing it. But again, I'm sure it'll be fine, because this is really good writing. Like, I mean, all I'm getting from this story so far is that these would have been really good episodes of the Clone Wars. Like, this would have been like one of the highlight episodes to stand out of the season, because it's so good. I mean, for one thing, the novel's focus. I mean, it's an assassination of Dooku, which obviously we know that's going to fail considering Dooku's alive, but the fun part is that it doesn't seem like it's going to be about killing Dooku. It seems like it's more... I mean, although, obviously, that's the final confrontation because Ventress and Dooku squaring off. But it's more going to be about the relationship Ventress and Vaz are having with each other. Fleshing out the characters and seeing the two grow. And it's good because, which, again, I think is the more interesting element. I'm always for character over story. It's interesting. And also, and so far it's working. I mean, I really like the characters so far. I mean, the novel does a really good job of, again, the introspection's really helping to flesh out the characters in a way that you couldn't get it through a comic book. Or even the show, like we're able to slow down and really go inside the character's mind. Like the rough cut, like, I mean, okay, it's not as exciting to read about the rooftop chase as watch the rough cut, as unfinished maybe, but we get a lot more atmosphere. Like, we see Ventress observing all the little people. We see her smile curve. Like, all these little things that, I mean, some of it probably would have come across in the visuals and the animation, the voice acting, but these descriptions are really helping. And again, love Ventress. I mean, every time she talks, I just hear Nikita Futterman's voice, and every time she talks, I'm like, that's so Ventress. That's so something Ventress would say, which shows how much Katie Lucas is in tune with Ventress. because, I mean, she's always, like, whenever there's a venture-centric arc, she's always on board. And I'm giving the credit to Katie, not Christy, on the dialogue, because, like, from the rough cut, like, a lot of this dialogue I recognize from the rough cuts, so, like, obvious, so Katie wrote, but Christy also deserves a lot of credit because, and Matt Mitrich, because, no, yeah, I know. Matt and Katie deserve credit for the dialogue, but Christy deserves a lot of credit too for the introspection, because when we're going inside Ventress's head, it really sounds like, okay, this is what Ventress would be thinking. And that really shows just how much she understands those characters. Like, it's very clear she did her research. Like, I remember reading an interview where she said that she rewatched all the Clone Wars episodes, paying especially close attention to the Ventress and Vaz ones to really understand these characters. And it really shows. Like, with Son of Dathomir, I kind of got the sense that the person who adapted this really didn't understand the context of where this novel fit and everything, but it kind of showed for the interview. But here I really get the sense that Golden understands, like, Ventress. Like, I mean, the fact that we can go inside her head and, like, hear lines like, the fool, or smirk, like, stuff like this helps me, really reassures me that she knows what she's doing. And she also does a wonderful job with Vaz. I mean, Quinlan Vaz is a character we haven't seen that much of on the Clone Wars. We saw him I've only heard him talk once, so I don't really remember what he sounds like. I mean, The Hunt for Zero wasn't exact. I mean, it was a fun episode, but it's not like in my top 5, top 10, and it's not one I've rewatched a lot. But we haven't seen. The point is, outside. That's the only time we've heard him talk. We've seen him a couple more times in the Clone Wars, like even like when in the Yoda arc we see him briefly in like the Vision of all the Jedi, but we haven't really seen Vaz in action since here, and this novel does a really good job at reintroducing Vaz and giving us a sense of what he's like. Like, there's this really good scene in on where he's helping with a black market operation, which I'm trying to figure out, like, how much of this is give and take, like, how much of this is the original episode, how much of this is stuff Golden added. Because, like, I feel like you could have just cut to Vaz landing, but this worked to sort of reintroduce the character, help us get a sense of who he is, although, like, it was a little bit hard who he is, because it really helped us understand who he is, because he's very unorthodox, very off the book. I mean, we see him on this undercover assignment, and they smartly remind you about his mental seeing powers, which I thought was really good. And, sorry, I blanked that. I was going to say something to do with Blue. But yeah, like, but they do a really good job of just reestablishing who Quinlan Vaz is, letting us know who he is. And dang it, I really wish I could remember what I was going to say. It was like something really good. I'm sure it'll come to me. But, oh yeah. So, there's one bit in that shop scene that really just proved that a novel was a good format to adapt this. I mean, there's some elements that we lose, but a lot we could gain. Like, for one thing, this customer comes in, and it's this fake persona Vaz is put on. Now, if this were the show, we couldn't have this mystery of this big reveal of, oh my gosh, it's Quinlan Vaz, because the instant he walks in, we could be like, oh, it's Vaz. But here, with a novel, the author controls what we see, so we can't find out it's Vaz until the author tells us to, which that is a really cool moment, and I really hope the author sort of plays around with that. Like, there's a lot of moments like that where the author's just doing a really good job of, like, making this feel like a novel and not just feels like it was an episode first, novel second. But yeah. So yeah. The premise for this is really good. Like, I mean, first off, it involves putting two characters together who it seems like it's going to be a really fun time seeing these two interact. And it's also interesting because there's also a lot of lying here. So Vaz can't reveal who he is to Ventress or his goal. Like, he has to make, or himself a Jedi. He has to sort of make it seem like this is a coincidence. He's just a fellow bounty hunter. And even when they go after Dooku, it's like they have to sort of make it seem like it was planned, which makes me really curious of how Vaz is going to reveal he's a Jedi, because obviously he's going to have to do that at some point when they face Dooku, and like, he can't just face him as a regular bounty hunter. And two, you have to have Ventress find out who Vaz is at some point. It'll be really interesting to see how that's revealed. I feel like it's going to happen much later when their relationship is more established. But yeah, like, all these little things about where we're going, how we're going to get there, I really like it. I love not knowing where this novel's going, but like, again, it's they're making the mystery the journey, not the ultimate destination. It's because we know they're going to fail, but what's going to happen on the way? What are they going to gain? How are they going to grow along the way? Yeah, and this episode did a really good job at bringing them together. I like how Ventress agrees to let Vaz join her, but she doesn't agree to let him to be friends with him. Like, she's still earning his trust, which I really like because that's realistic. Like, it should happen over the course of the novel. And I also really like it because it reminds me of another great show, The Last Airbender, where Team Avatar let Zuko join the team, and the first episode's just Zuko trying to convince them to let him join the team. They still don't like him, and it's only a few episodes later where they really start to trust him and or feel comfortable around him. And Dark Disciple's very much taking that route. And I also like the scenario we got in, because it sort of reinforces the theme for this episode of Teamwork. Like, the Council was establishing earlier about how Vaz is not going to be able to take down Dooku alone. He needs help. And later on, we see that reinforced when Vaz is like, you can't take down this guy alone. You need help. You'll accomplish more of a team. And I thought that was a really clever way of reinforcing it. And I'm trying to think what else I was going to say. And I really like that. I like how Vaz is kind of serving under Ventress now. Like, I think that's a very interesting dynamic. I wonder how, like, it's sort of like the first time Ventress is someone serving under her. And it'll be very interesting to see how that dynamic evolves or changes. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Again, my main fault is just the visual. I wish we could see it. I wish I could hear it, although Ventress's voice is coming through perfectly. And there are a fair amount of times where I can actually just see the episode playing out in Clone Wars animation. And this is pretty much the next best thing. So now I'm going to talk about, like, the little things in the episode. Because there are a lot of little things I want to talk about, but I can't for one. Oh yeah, first off, this is such a Han and Leia relationship. Like, you have the strong female who won't let anyone near her, and then you have the smooth talking Quinlan Vaz. I'm getting this Han and Leia vibe, which I really like. So yeah, there are a couple little things that I liked in here. For one thing, there was a brief line in here about how the war's almost been going on for 3 years, which I think is a really clever way of establishing where everyone's at. Like, it's reinforcing the idea that we're getting close to the Revenge of the Sith time. And that, you know, the show's nearing its end and that the creators were going to start winding down. Which, this would have been one of the last great stories they would have told, probably. We also got to see 1313 again, which I feel so bad for 1313. Like, because they obviously wrote this back when the game was in development. They thought, oh, this will be a cool tie-in. We're just going to keep using 1313, promoting it, and using it in the game, and now it's canceled. Now, this is the closest we're going to come to seeing 1313. I mean, this is like the third time we've seen this area on the show. We first saw it in the Season 5 finale. We saw it first... we saw a bit of it in Season 2. I forget if it was when Ahsoka was looking for a lightsaber or when it was... when they're going into the bar looking for information on Boba Fett's whereabouts or something. I don't know. Something in the Season 2 finale, I remember they had to go below looking for something. The second time, of course, was the Season 5 finale. The third time was Order 66. So, fourth time, there was going to be a fifth time when... because in the rough cut, where after Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order, we see her in level 1313. So, yeah, this era is going to show up a lot. And we get to see the bounty hunters again. Which I like how sort of how this episode sort of is a continuation of the bounty hunter episode from Season 4. Like, we sort of get a sense of Ventress has sort of become the alpha bounty hunter. Like, she's like taking targets from everyone. It's like, now the bounty hunter's like, I don't even want to go near her. Like, which, again, sort of creates this contrast, which, I mean, feels like a natural extension. I mean, Ventress was sort of, like, unimpressed with the bounty hunter team. That's also cool to see Boba Fett's bounty hunter team again. I'm curious if this arc takes place after the Season 6 bounty hunter, because if you don't know, there was a Cad Bane and Boba Fett arc planned for probably Season 6, and we didn't get to see it. I feel like this takes place... I'm pretty sure Matt confirmed that it takes place after Season 6, but if not, oh well. But if it is, I really hope they don't spoil anything that happens in it, because, I mean, I have a good theory that Cad Bane dies, like, because whenever Filoni's asked if Bane's going to show up in Rebels, he's like, which is, he'll die, and also just, especially if we're going to follow the Clint Eastwood Dollars Trilogy reference, and if Cad Bane's more like the evil cowboy from the second movie, a few dollars more, like, he gets the axe from Bubba. But we're not talking about the bounty hunter arc, we're talking about this wonderful Dark Disciple arc. So there's, like, one more thing I wanted to say before. First off, I like how Ventress is a ship. I think that's really cool, and I'm excited that we're going to see it on Rebels, although it's probably going to look at a different style to it than it did here. But also, where did Ventress get a lightsaber? I mean, a perfectly yellow lightsaber. I mean, they never... I mean, maybe they'll explain that later on, but... because Anakin took... No, not Anakin. Barriss took Ventress's lightsaber. It's like, did the Council ever bother to find her and give her lightsabers back? I mean, she did help clear Ahsoka's name, and Ahsoka never did get that chance to put in a good word for Ventress, so... will that stuff come back? I don't know. So yeah, I'm sorry this vlog ran so long, like... part of it's me being incoherent, part of it's a lot to say, but this is why I do the vlogs, because I can't go on for 20 minutes about a Clone Wars episode. So yeah, what'd you think of the Lethal Alliance? Comment below and let me know, and as always, like, dislike, subscribe. And this is JStar60, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog, The Mission. Until then, may the Force be with you.